Evidence leader advocate Charkleson has revealed a new bombshell at the Madlanger Commission. According to him, in Gregory Loftus's interdict application, it is alleged that Clive Nyker promised Govender 2.5 million rand to kill Bevan. Over 430,000 rand in cash was also deposited into Govender's accounts between August and November 2022. Welcome back to this channel. Kindly smash the subscribe button and like this video. Grab your popcorn, sit back and relax because today's video is going to blow your mind.
You will see that these are AVL records from SAPS. For whose vehicle are these AVL records?
This AVL records are for the vehicle that Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender used.
And if you look at the GPS coordinates under incident location, are those the GPS coordinates of the address of Mr. Nyker?
That's correct.
The address that we just saw on the bank statement?
Yeah.
So, if you can then go through paragraph 66.2. I think keep 1427 open because I'm going to ask you to explain with reference to 1427.
1600 hours, 29 seconds. The SAPS BMW vehicle issued to Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender was switched off its ignition and stopped for 7.5 minutes at a place 31 meters away from the address, which is identified on the extract from the AVL records in the bundle.
And can you show to the Commission, if we go back to 1427, where do you see that?
You see it on the top first two lines. You got the first one, ignition off, and it gives you the address. And then you would see that there's a startup. So the ignition was switched off at 1600 hours, 29 seconds. And the startup was, the vehicle started again at 1600 hours, 07:50 at the same premises.
And that was on 16 August 2022?
That's correct.
Can you then take us through paragraph 66.3, but maybe before you go to 66.3, let's take the Commission to file 4, pages 1434 to 1435.
Okay, these are cash deposits that were made into the bank account of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and his wife, who is also a SAPS member.
And on the screen that's displayed, the column that says account is redacted, but there are various different accounts in the unredacted. And the references to the actual bank statements and their pagination in the record is in the bundle column, which is the 4th column. So if I might, if we can just take an example. We see that on using the bundle reference at 1420, there are a succession of cash deposits into what is a home loan account. And if we go to 1420, we will see the bank statement, for that.
That's correct.
That specific account, which will reflect those cash deposits.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Then in paragraph 66.4, 66.3, in the subparagraphs of 66.3, you summarize the overall picture. Can you take the Commission through that summary?
Okay. Commissioner, the 63.3.1, between the 29th of August 2022 and the 18th of December 2023, cash deposits aggregating to 2,343,050 rand were made into the bank accounts of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and his wife, who is also a SAPS member. Sorry, it's 2,34,350 rand. Correction, 2,34,350 rand. That's cash deposits. In his founding affidavit in the interdict application, Mr. Gregory Loftus alleged that Mr. Clive Naika had promised to pay Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender 2.5 million to kill Bevan Loftus.
Then can I ask you to go to the bundle itself and to paragraph 18 of that interdict, the founding affidavit and the interdict application, at the foot of page 17, paragraph 18.
During 2022, both Bevan and myself received information that there was an assassination contract put on Bevan's life in the amount of 2.5 million. I also received information from a policeman. I know that the hit on my son was genuine. The word was that I should be careful because if they cannot kill Bevan, they would kill my son, Nicholas, or myself.
Back to paragraph 69, and then maybe if you can take us through the whole of paragraph 69 and its subparagraphs, and I'll stop you from time to time to amplify.
I have been informed that Mr. Loftus will testify before the Commission, so I do not repeat the details that is described in the interdict application of the interactions between the Loftus family and members of the SAPS and between Bevan Loftus and Mr. Clive Naika. I merely emphasize the following features of the chronological that emerges from the affidavit of Mr. Gregory Loftus in the interdict application. The financial records obtained by the Commission and the investigation into the killings that IPID have subsequently conducted. Between 29 August 2022 and the end of November 2022, over 430,000 was deposited in cash into the accounts of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and his wife.
Can I stop you then? Can we go to page 14?
They also accused Bevan of threatening to kill Captain Valley of SAPS Brighton Beach. According to Gregory Loftus, Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and Warrant Officer Sivan Naidu said that they had come to the property not to arrest Bevan, but to kill him. And they allegedly told Gregory Loftus that he should get Bevan's funeral insurance up to date because they were going to kill Bevan. They again searched the home of Bevan Loftus and again arrested Gregory Loftus. On the 1st of April 2023, a day after Gregory Loftus had issued his interdict application, members of the task team under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender arrived at the flat in Morningside, Durban, where they believed Bevan Loftus was hiding. The task team entered the flat. They alleged that Bevan Loftus and the other 4 occupants shot at the police, and they returned fire, fatally wounding all 5. Despite allegedly being shot at by 5 suspects, none of the members of the task team suffered any gunshot injuries, or indeed any other injuries. The shooting of the 5 occupants occurred between 12:30 and 1300 hours on the 1st of April. IPID officials on standby were only called out 14:35. IPID members on standby arrived at the scene at 1500 hours. On arrival of the IPID investigator, Ms. Fortunate Ndembele, she was allowed entrance to the scene as the members from the local criminal record center was waiting to process the scene. Ms. Fortunate Ndembele stated that Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender was present outside the scene and she requested to speak to the members who were involved in the shooting. Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender indicated that the members had already left the crime scene. No one knew the whereabouts of the members. The scene was processed whilst IPID officials were present. The docket was subsequently registered and the investigations were taken over by IPID KZN.
Can I take you up on one issue? You say that none of the members of the task team suffered any gunshot injuries or indeed any other injuries.
Yes, in fact, one member that was Pedro Rodriguez, his bulletproof vest had a gunshot hole right at the bottom. So there was one gunshot hole, which he alleges that was at the same incident. He was shot on that bulletproof vest.
And did he suffer any injuries on the day?
No, no injuries.
Was there other evidence other than the injuries, evidence that the police were shot at, such as used cartridges, holes on the walls,
Yes.
damage to the property?
Yes, there were cartridges found from various firearms. The evidence of the cartridges found at the fire on the scene of those various cartridges is still being tested because Bevan Loftus had his own firearm, his private firearm. And one would, if you have a private firearm, you would not use an unlicensed firearm if you're defending yourself. Or if you're shooting at the police, you wouldn't use an unlicensed firearm. You would use your own private firearm. The issue here is that they did not know that police were coming to the flat because they did not give permission to anyone to come to the flat. Because remember, I indicated earlier on, is that the occupants of the premises must indicate to the security downstairs that they can allow people to come up. So they did not allow or indicate to the security for anyone to come up. They only indicated to one person, who was the person that was picked up by the police in Pinetown. They picked him up for a shooting that happened at Greenwood Park. And when they interrogated him, he indicated that he knows where Bevan resides, or where they were in hiding. So they took him to the flat, and basically he was the one that requested for permission to come up. So they knew that the person that's coming up is well known to them. So they would not be armed to start shooting at their own friend that's coming to visit them. So when the person went in, he knocked on the door and he went inside, then the shooting took place. Now he was first in line when he got into the house, but he was not shot at, he was not injured. But if you look at the photo album of the shooting, the police indicated that they retreated into hiding when they were shooting, but the 4 deceased was lying in a line. They were all lined up and they were shot at. If you see, some of the deceased have water on the clothing. it points out that they may have been tortured first and then killed from the photos that we have seen.
So you are implying that the scene was staged?
That's correct. And if you look at the photos, you will be able to determine some of those things. I don't want to go too much in detail because the case is still ongoing. Even the post-mortem reports show that the shooting was from top to bottom. The post-mortem reports. What was also that gives us an indication that this could have been an hit is that the photos of the deceased at the crime scene circulated on social media even before even before LCRC, the local criminal record center, could get to the scene. The photos already circulated on social media. And that's how the families of the deceased came to know that their children died in that shooting. Now, it could have been that the photos were circulated to one person to say that we've done the hit now, you can do the payment. And that person would have sent it to everyone via his social media. That could be the reason why those photos went out.
I want clarification on two issues. You say they were lined up. The bodies were lined up. Can you explain what exactly you mean? Just explain being lined up.
They were lined up next to each other.
Chair, the pictures are in the bundle. They shouldn't be displayed.
No, yeah.
But maybe if I can ask you to look at file 2, page 699.
600.
699.
That's
correct.